A very special Tuesday morning to you. Welcome once again to Untengle on the Bridge 99 FM. Want to say a very special morning to Richie B and the Up and Go crew. Have yourself a wonderful day, Richie, and have yourself a wonderful day, crew. And thank you so very much for joining us on the Bridge 99 FM. For all of you who have joined us, who have been here, or will continue to be here, thank you very much. You know that you're why we're here. And thank you very much. And very special good morning to our listeners and also to the Untengle team. You know, Vaughn, as I see you looking at me, I was actually going to wear a purple shirt this morning, you know. Can you imagine? And I took it out from the day before. And I thought to myself this morning, no man, how could I possibly do that with two JC boys, a part of my team? I said it would be cruel. It would be absolutely cruel. So I said, no, I can't have you look on purple for the whole day. Eh? So you wore black today. So my JC friends are in black today. I'm not mourning with you. I'm not. I really am not. Because Jago girls did pretty well. They came in, they did very well. They came in third. The boys came in fourth, I think it was. I think so. They didn't come third. They came, I think, just fourth. But so we celebrate. I told you to watch those purple boys, you know. They will sneak up on you. I told you. Anyway, want to say a hearty congratulations to Edwin Allen on winning the girls' championships. Yes, absolutely. And a hearty congratulations to Kingston College on winning the boys' championships. Well done, both of you. And to all the other teams, I'm sure it was... Yes, yes, you know, Vaughn just saying to me, big up the country schools, them really take champs. You know, we just want to say enough respect. It's a long time those country girls beating us, you know. Long time they are whip. So we just want to say big up to the schools outside of Kingston and St. Andrew and Spanish Town, you know, because going to Jago, you know, you don't, but I think you can call Jago country school, you know, you try your best, don't do that. So we just want to say enough respect to all the schools who participated, and the vibe was obviously good. I was there on Friday. I was at the stadium on Friday, not for champs, but the vibe was nice. The police were out in their numbers and they didn't seem to have too much of an issue. So we just want to say enough respect for that for everyone. So while we big up the schools, we also want to big up the patrons because we all make it work. So once again, congrats to the winners and congrats to the participants. You know, as we're talking about country school and town school, Mrs. String just texts me about country rat and town rat. You watch the Sightman official. You watch the Sightman official with the Sightman official with this brethren who have a little thing on YouTube where appear Sightman depend. You say right, all right. So it can be very funny. Him tell a story one time about country dog and town dog. Believe you me, we're going to have to find that story. Sightman official, which part you there? Believe me, you know, we need to put you on the bridge. No, just for tell we that country dog and town dog story. Bada cat, him same one. Him same one. Bada cat is hilariously funny, and he told a story on him page about town dog and country dog. And a serious thing, you know, there are sometimes subtle differences and sometimes not so subtle differences between the way country and town steer. Now you see when him tell the story of the country dog and the town dog, you realize I say the town dog coming like them 3-yard man way downtown, you know, where I sell you wash over gold chain. You know them kind of way there? Yeah, man. But trust me, Bada Cat, one of these days, from long time, I tell you something why you on the program, you know. But I want you on the program to tell the story of the country dog and the town dog. Me not think me laugh so hard for a long time. You see the man them where downtown a sell people, country people, you know them still a do that something there, wash over gold, and the people them who still are buying to it. Come on now, man. I want to make people start have a difference between country and town. You know, still a buy the wash over gold chain them. Behave on yourself, man. So we are just about ready to join Morganne Kellier, and she is on the line. Okay, wonderful. So, we want to say good morning to you, Morgan.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jamaica. Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
That's a beautiful picture. That's how you're looking at
Thank
real?
you. Yes, so that is me in real life.
All right. Okay. All right. So let us talk from the very beginning, right? You are
Yes,
originally from Montego Bay area, right?
yes,
Tell us
I
about
am.
your early beginnings, your community, your school, that
Most
kind of thing.
definitely. Yes, so I am, as you said, from Montego Bay, St. James. I grew up in the Paradise Acres, community of Paradise Acres. And I went to the Montego Bay Preparatory School where I would say most of my love for community service and leadership really started. And
Prep
my
school?
commitments, I would say, yes,
Yeah.
Montego Bay Preparatory, yes. That's my foundation. I just would like to big up my principal, Miss Grace Gordon Wilson, who she instilled so many great things in me from that level. And I think without her and my foundation at Montego Bay Prep, I don't think I'll be where I am today. So, kudos to Montego Bay Preparatory School. If you're in the Montego Bay area, have children, send them to Montego Bay Prep. Yeah, little
Wow.
advertisement there.
What a promo. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
All right. So interesting. What was interesting, I found interesting is that you were crowned festival queen for
Yes.
the parish of St. James. What was that
Yes.
experience like?
It was excellent. And I'll even go back to saying, when I was at Montego Bay Prep School, I was in a lot of JCDT festival competitions. So I've had the love and interest for the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen competition ever since then. I did the competition last year. I'm still currently the Miss St. James Festival Queen. I'm finishing my reign now. But it was a beautiful experience. Just the opportunity to interact with other brilliant and promising young women from across Jamaica and,
Right.
learning from them and learning more. You think you're so culturally aware, but then you learn so many things from somebody in a different parish and you learn
Yes.
more about their parish and more about that culture there. It was just such an invigorating experience and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm so happy that I had to be a part of it, and I'm eternally grateful to JCDC, my parish office, Miss Blake, my parish manager, and all the other girls who I would say are now my queen sisters. We call each other queen sisters. So yeah, I'm really grateful that I was able to do that experience.
Well, congrats. And also congrats
Thank
to
you.
your queen sisters. What was the
Thank you.
biggest lesson that you learned from that experience?
It was really a personal lesson, and I would say it's to never think that selling yourself or confidence is not humility. I think one of my biggest issues is that because I consider being humble such a huge part of my life, sometimes I may have downplayed my talent or my skill or my contributions. But I realize that celebrating yourself is totally okay. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you boastful. It doesn't make you cocky. Celebrating yourself is completely fine. And I think that's one of the biggest personal lessons that I've learned through that competition, that it's okay to celebrate yourself. It's okay to sell yourself for what you need to get where you need to get in life sometimes,
I hear
and
you.
you still be humble by doing that. It doesn't take away from your
Absolutely.
humility, right? Yes.
That's a
That's one of my
wonderful
biggest
lesson, and thanks for sharing
you.
that. Because
Most
I know
definitely.
exactly what you mean. Because especially if
Yes.
you're good at something, from a very early age, you kind of taught that don't bother talk about that, because you're going to
Yes.
be bossy. You're
Yes.
bossy, but you can
Yes.
actually talk about that and maintain your humility. That's
Most
beautiful.
definitely. Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. And I'm sure there are other things, but we're not going to talk about that now. But I'm sure there are other things about you and about your life that has taught you to not to downplay yourself. Like one of my sisters looking at you right here now, and the first thing she said, Dolly, baby. But what you know
Yeah, mother.
so,
Oh, God. That is so
people
funny. I love it. I love it.
But these are some of the things that these are gifts, I mean, why would you be ashamed of that? It's a
Why
gift.
would I?
Absolutely, absolutely, my love. All right, so let us talk about now your journey through law school. That was
Yes.
probably one of your biggest challenges. Let's talk about
It
that.
was. I can definitely, most confidently say that it was one of my biggest challenges. And that, I don't know if you've ever heard about imposter syndrome. I try not to claim it very much, But it took me a lot of times when I felt like I was just not my best, because now you're among the brightest of the brightest. You're no longer the shining star in the room because, that everybody bright.
Yes.
Everybody bright now. So, it was way more work. It got more intense. The hours were longer and you're on the brink of your dream. Well, for me personally, I'm on the brink of, this is all that I've imagined for my life now. So the pressure was real. It was a lot for me, but I think one of the greatest things is that having an excellent support system to, just remind me some days when I felt like I wasn't good enough that it's okay, you can do it. I think my personal prayer life, which I think is important, but, whatever your faith is, for you to have that kind of relationship, so, keep yourself grounded.
Yes.
As well as just also believing in yourself for yourself. This is something that I've wanted to do ever since I was a child. I remember my mom always tells me about a story where a gentleman had asked me, what am I? And I told him that I'm an attorney.
Oh my
So it's something
goodness.
I've been manifesting for my entire life. And I pride myself on knowing that I've always had clear vision for my life. While many of them may not have worked out the way I would have expected them, and I've learned to manage my expectations, but I've also been very clear about my intentions and my visions and my plans for my life. So this is something I know that I wanted to do. I was very clear in the career that I would have done when I became an attorney. And so I think that helped me to keep grounded in my journey to just get what I needed to get done. But I couldn't credit it by myself. Like I said, I think my support was really instrumental and my personal prayer life as well. But it was a rough
Wonderful.
journey.
I don't want to sound superficial, but if I wanted to be an attorney, I would look forward to the day when I put on that the white blouse, that the black.
Yes,
Don't
of
it?
course. Of course. I mean, enough time. I remember one time, it is a joke that I have. I remember one time I was in my vision board and I said, to make it even more real, I cut out my face and I put it on the gown with the tabs because I had to see it. Because I had to see that this is real and this is going to happen.
Yes.
And for me, I guess the vision of it, the actual vision, and I know it might sound crazy, but actually having to see it every single day and saying that, this is actually possible, it gave me more reassurance that, yeah, man, this can happen. And so the day when it happened, it felt so surreal. So most definitely, that's definitely a part of the process to say, yeah, man, we want to put on the gown and the tabs to look nice, it's suit time. Yeah, that's also motivation. I can't take that from it at all.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back a bit. You spoke about the imposter syndrome. And there are a lot of people who are listening who may not know what that is, but we're going to talk about it a little because a lot of people don't even realize that they have imposter syndrome.
That's true.
They think that probably law is just too much for them or whatever is just too much for them. Let's talk about the imposter syndrome. What is it and how do you overcome it, or how did you overcome it?
Okay, so I would say in for better use of words, it's just basically when no matter how well you do, no matter how much you achieve, it will never feel good enough. You will never feel like you're doing good enough. And that used to happen to me. So I probably would have gotten an A on an assignment and I would just be like, okay, that's okay. I'm still not doing good enough. I'm still not reaching how far I need to reach. And I think law can do that to you sometimes. And even though that I'm in the profession, I've, been practicing for 4 months now, since I've been called in December of last year. And you'll feel that way. You come and you may have achieved something for a particular day. You have a breakthrough at work, but you still feel like it's not enough, And I think more so it's even worse for our generation. My mentor would say we're the microwave generation in terms of we want things to happen now. So if we're not seeing all of the glory and the success happening all at once, we don't feel like, anything is really happening for us and we fail to celebrate ourselves. So I think in terms of imposter syndrome, that's what it would be. We don't give ourselves any grace. We don't commend ourselves along the journey. We want the instant gratification now and we want it fast. And so we fail to realize that we're going through the process and we're doing good throughout the process. There will be downfalls in the process, but, it's how we overcome it.
Right.
Would I say how I overcame it?
Yes.
I think it's still a lie. I said I really try not to claim it. It still lingers sometimes, but my biggest thing is just to constantly remind myself that I have to give myself grace. When my friends come to me or anybody who just comes for advice, I'm very grateful to them. I remind them of that, they're going through their own process, they're on their own personal journey, and they have to be kind to themselves. And I feel like if
Absolutely.
I'm able to meet that out to others, I should be able to do that for myself. So
Right.
some days I have to just talk myself up in the mirror. I talk myself up in the mirror before I leave for work most mornings. I remind myself of all of the great things that I've done and all the great things I'm capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and I try to share this as often as I can. I remember one time I was watching Tammy on Meet the Mitchells, and she was talking about her sister, and she was saying that whenever she feel like she hears something negative, she just turns to the side and tell the voice to shut up. So whenever I feel like the negative voice want to come in and distract me, because so that happen all the
Yes,
time,
yes.
I just turn to the side and I say, "Bad Jada, shut up,"
Exactly.
So like, I tell myself, "Bad Jada, just shut up," because
Same, sir.
sometimes we have to just really shut up the voices. But it's still a process, like I said, it's still a lingering thing, and I feel like the profession can do that to you because I think the nobility of the profession, you want to always maintain that level of excellence and that standard. And I think because of all of these great stalwarts in the profession too, that, we look up to and who inspire us, we really want to, keep in that arena. So some days it can be like, am I doing enough?
And
Will I get
something,
there?
something tomorrow. You mentioned the profession particularly, and I understand that, but it happens in other professions too.
And it does,
And one of the things about your profession is that you are perhaps as good as your last case.
Yes, yes, most definitely. Exactly. Right. I couldn't have said it any better. That's so true.
Yes. Okay.
So,
All right. So I know that you have actually joined your brother, who was your inspiration.
yes,
Just a little bit
most
about your brother.
definitely. Well, my brother is my everything, actually. He's my biggest supporter. He's my biggest critique. He is all encompassing everything for me, to be honest. He's very instrumental in my growth, especially, throughout my career as well, and just on my life journey. So it's not just, because I've joined him at the bar that he only assists me with the law, but even with entering the Miss Festival Queen competition, he was very instrumental there. He takes me out of my imposter syndrome a lot and reminds me that I'm capable. So I'm most grateful to my brother. I don't think I'll be able to do life without him.
Oh my goodness. I know exactly how that feels.
Yes.
All right. So as we wind up now, we're going to talk about two things. Very quickly, a vision
Yes.
board. You
Yes.
mentioned the vision board. And for
Yes.
those listening, tell them how important it is for you to have a vision of what you
Trust
want.
me.
Yes,
I
yes.
think it's so important. And right now, I would just like beat myself because I haven't done one for this year as yet, and I feel like my world is crumbling down. Last year, I'll tell you that I did a vision board at the beginning of the year, New Year's Day. And then I went on, I think it was COVID. So I was literally at home and I was doing the vision board. I bought all the material, put all my pictures on it. And I'll tell you, every single thing that was on my vision board, I received for the year. Every single thing on my vision board. I didn't miss anything. And I think because, one, I was very intentional about it. I mean, I think different people have their vision boards different, ways. And you will see a lot of lessons and a lot of videos on how you can do it. But for me, the approach I took, it was more short term in terms of what I wanted within this particular time and, what I was going to do to get it. And I mean, I think the ability to see it every day, like I said, actually visualize it and see that it's possible. Come and look at my vision board. Sometimes I'll just go touch it. I say a little prayer and say, God, some want this soon. So just want to talk to me, you know what I mean?
You talk to the Most High in Patois?
Yeah, man.
Do you actually speak to the Lord in Patois?
I do. I have to break it down. Every day can't be the same. So, as real as it gets. And I think having it there, just a physical thing, knowing that these things are possible, it really helped me. And I'm telling you that every single thing. So I know that different people, do it different. Before I started vision boarding, I would have probably written a list in my phone or
Yes.
But through in my face every day, and
Right.
I'm not really seeing it all the time. It wasn't as pressing. But now when I saw it every day right in the center of my room, I knew that, okay, I'm going to get these things done. And literally everything. So honestly, last year was a really blessed year for me. I can't, say any different.
All right. Okay. So as we wind up now, there are a lot of young people listening to you. There are a lot of young people who have imposter syndrome, who very lack confidence, who have the ability but don't even know. What would be your words to them as you seal off?
Yes. Well, I think it's things that we've heard as young people now, especially in this age. But most importantly, focus on your journey. I think that's so important. I mentioned before that my mentor would say we're the microwave generation. So we want things to happen now and as soon as possible. And, we may be looking at some of our colleagues or persons within our age range and we see their life happening a different way and we want this for ourselves. But I would say focus on your journey, curate your experience for the life that you want. And it's not going to happen instantly, but be kind to yourself in the process, because I think us as young people and I was actually reading it on, I believe, a case or a case theory, something of that sort, and it was saying that we're so quick to understand that we don't learn as young people. So we want to catch it so fast that we fail to even learn. And I think that's where we fail in our process or in our life journey. So my biggest advice would be try to learn. What can we learn from our experiences? Because experience teaches wisdom. Learn and be kind to yourselves. We're not going to get it on the first try. Sometimes we don't even get it on the 10th try, but we will get it if we're determined about getting it. So be kind to yourself and gracious to yourself throughout your process.
Very well said. And one more thing too, Morgan, also
Yes.
learn to forgive yourself
Yes,
for whatever
that's
reason.
a
For
big thing. Yeah,
whatever
man.
reason. Okay, I didn't ask you this question, but what kind of law have you studied?
Well, we do everything at the law school because we have to be well-rounded. So when we do actually start practicing, we're able to do whatever it is that we come out into practice.
Okay.
So we do criminal, civil law, all of it.
Okay.
So we learn the basic foundation, so we're able to now practice when we actually come out as practicing attorneys.
All right.
Yes.
Wonderful talking to you. I'm sure that
You
people
too.
listening
Thank
to
you
you,
for having me.
particularly young people listening to you, you're
Yes.
such an inspiration. Continue to be
thank
an
you.
inspiration and
Thank you so much.
continue to do well. Continue to be beautiful,
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed my time.
All right, my love. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? Morganne Kellier, and she's the 2021 Festival Queen for St. James. She's a past student of the Montego Bay High School and Community College, so I'm sure she is quite an inspiration to those in and around the space that she's from, and she is now a young attorney at law, defeating the odds and telling herself that she can do it, having her vision board. And for those who don't know what a vision board is, perhaps you need to find out. It really makes a great difference. We're going to take a break. We soon come. Okay, so it's now time for us to join Beauregard and the Irie Jam family. Beauregard, you there?
Yes, Mama Kelly, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just playing a little bit of that song with Morgan Heritage and Buja Banton as we talk about the service of Ras Morgan. He was laid to rest on Friday and Saturday. And
Yes.
I was there on Friday and it was absolutely beautiful, spectacular in a rutical way.
Wow, I could just imagine the turnout and all the people that came to show their love and support, for a man like that, who basically did a lot for our culture and the music in terms of, his music and his family's music. And, just all the celebrities that might have passed through, for show them respect.
Can I tell you something, Beauregard? To my left, right? We
Yes.
were on the, no, to my right. We were on the left. And to my right was the family. And it was at the indoor sports complex. And can I tell you, almost all the seats on my right were filled with family.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? It's
Yeah,
that huge.
I can't imagine, because remember, Mojo was telling us about the amount of people that's in the family, from the children to the grandchildren to the grandchildren. So I could just imagine,
And there were most of them were dressed in white with gold. At some, somewhere there was gold, and it was a sea of white. Peter came in black because he actually missed his flight, so he came straight from the airport, and he actually apologized. But they were just so beautiful on stage that I'm sure nobody really cared.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But the family, amazing family. And can you imagine, most of us know LMS and Morgan Heritage, but they used the opportunity to introduce to those of us who were there members of the family that we did not know. And that was just amazing. The first sister who born in a Jamaica, because most of them born in the States, but there were some who born in Jamaica.
Yes.
So she introduced us to the ones born in Jamaica, them pet name, why them call them so. Did you know why them call Gramps Gramps?
No, I never found that out.
I never knew either. But then the master of ceremony for the moment, that for the occasion, which was Dr. Dennis Howard, he is very close to the family, and he let us know that them call Gramps Gramps because him is the spitting image of him grandfather.
Okay.
Me never even know that.
And I never even thought to ask him either.
Right. We've never thought to adopt it.
Yeah.
We've never thought to ask that question.
Yeah.
But Una was there, the entire family was there, and they sang for us. And they reminisced. And little balling go on, because you know little balling have to go on. But it was a good turnout. The Minister of Entertainment, you know, Sister Babsy, she's amazing. No politics this now. This is just straight facts. She is one amazing minister. She was there. She was a little late because she has so many things to do, so many other functions to attend, but she made sure to be there. So she was there with them, and Damian Crawford was there. Muta Baruka was there. Quite a few people were there. It was just lovely.
I saw a picture with yourself and Muta. So.
Yes. He gave a very humorous account of his interactions with Denroy Morgan. Muta easy. Muta says he would go to a function and he want to see the people them who are performing. And Denroy Morgan, he was trying to say that Denroy Morgan was preoccupied with making the coronation day a national holiday. The coronation day of His Imperial Majesty a national holiday. So Muta says he would go to these functions and Denroy would meet him and he just peer at him at talk about when him really want to watch some of the the artists who will perform. And him say when the thing I get too loud, like the music I get so loud now, then I say to him, say, oh, it I get loud, so here we are going to go over there. So I say over there, so my friend, I really want over here. So but that was it was just nice. Really.
Nice.
You heard Mojo say that the kind of service that he want, I think they outdid themselves.
True indeed. It's good, when how should I put this? That a father raised his children, and for them to be able to, send him home in a nice fashion and with love and respect. It's a great thing.
Yes. And what was beautiful is when the procession was leaving with the body, it was just a spectacular event. I want to say enough respect to my sister Bridget Rubin, who decorated the place majestically. Red, gold, green, and white was just all over the place. Beautiful. And when the procession was leaving and the body was there, I didn't look at the body. I'm not good like that. But when they were leaving, he left to the music of Morgan Heritage, I'll Be Down by the River. It was just so beautiful.
Wow. Lovely.
Yeah.
Mama Kelly, you notice I'm wearing my red, gold, and green also.
Me look here now. You know, me notice.
And that is in respect and recognition of the incident that took place back in 1963 between the 11th of April and the 13th of April, which they call the Coral Gardens Massacre.
Yes.
That took place in near Montego Bay, where they are saying about 150 Rastafarians were detained and some killed following an incident at a gas station between some Rastafarians and the police. So
we're in that season now when we remember the elders of Rastafari and what they had to endure to make it easier for the ones now. And we can never forget, right?
Never.
Absolutely.
We're having some great weather here in New York City, 70 degrees today. But New York City is currently on high alert because of an incident that took place earlier this morning at around 8:30 in the subways. There was a mass subway shooting. They're currently saying that 16 people have been injured, 10 of them shot. It happened on the N train, and the suspect is still at large after he threw a smoke device on the train and opened fire. Somehow he got away. But, it's a big thing in New York City right now. There was a press conference a few minutes ago with the Governor Hochul, and Police Commissioner Sewell. She just came into that position back in December, so this is probably the biggest thing she's facing so far as Police Commissioner. And currently the mayor Eric Adams is in quarantine because he caught COVID. So he's not able to be out in the streets right now while all of this is unfolding. So, we'll bring you the news and all the information as we get it. But there was also another incident that took place over the weekend in New York City in the city of Mount Vernon, which is just north of the Bronx in Westchester County. The whole town is in mourning right now after 2 teenage girls were attacked on Friday after the local high school basketball team's championship parade. They were attacked by a group of girls where one of the attackers had a knife and stabbed both victims. Sadly, this 16-year-old Kayla Green died from her injuries, and the other young lady is currently recovering. 15-year-old suspect was arrested, and just to say a few things about Kayla Green, she was just 16 years old. She had just celebrated her birthday a couple of weeks ago. She was an honor roll student. She was a cheerleader. I believe they're saying she was the captain of the cheerleading team. Overall, just a good person doing great things. She's a daughter of the silent mom is from Jamaica. So she has that lineage. When you look at this incident, I'm looking at 3 things right here. I'm looking at a life cut short in Kayla Green. I'm looking at our friend who's currently recovering, someone who's probably going to be traumatized for the rest of her life.
Yes.
Just seeing and knowing that her friend died in front of her. And then the other young girl who's currently going to jail for maybe the rest of the most of her life.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a sad situation. And just a few weeks ago, there was another incident involving a 12-year-old child that was killed whilst just sitting in a car. Parked on the block, someone drove by and shot up the car and killed him. So, we say condolences to him as well. His name is Cade Lewin. So we say condolences to the family. It's a sad situation what we see going on now with the kids, both here in the United States and in Jamaica.
And something to Beauregard that we do have to remember, even the ones who are guilty of committing these crimes, these young people who are guilty, you kind of made reference to it because that's also something that we have to mourn because the parents of these children, you can imagine how sad they are, even though it was their child who committed the crime. Yeah. Because they have to live with that. Yeah. They and wonder where they went wrong. Exactly. Or if they did anything wrong. Exactly. And sometimes they could have done everything right. And then here comes the streets, and the influence is there. Absolutely. That's why we mourn everybody. This side though, we really want to make mention of the fact that Champs went through incident free. Yes. And we are just so proud of our young people. Yes. Because, they've been taking the flak a lot in recent times. But we had an incident free Champs. It was entertaining. We saw the police on the road. They didn't seem to have much work to do apart from just what, the natural things that they had to do. Yes. They were in good spirits because we had to be there to go to the indoor sports complex. Because it was at the National Stadium. The police were in great spirits. Some of them even dared to put on a few colors or two of their own. And we just want to say to our young people here, congrats. And to their supporters, well done. Let's just keep it up. True indeed. Congrats to all the students and all the schools who participated. I think we are looking at some future Olympians, Mama Kelly. Yes. Yes. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And this is, something. Is there any other nation that has champs the way we have champs? The way how we should? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We need to find that out. Even if they do, it's nothing near ours. Not the magnitude that we have. And the preparation for great international sports people. Champs is where it really starts, We all look to see who is our next, Merlin Otti, our next, Usain Bolt, and they are there. Yes, they are. They are there. We're such a proud nation. True indeed. Yeah. So, there's that. So we just want to say congrats to Kingston College. Of course, Vaughn is here in block. But what boy guy. Hush, man. I don't know if you can see the mic. You can see the mic. What So me said watch out. Push out to the side. Watch out. Me said to Sean, cause so Sean a JC boy too. Yeah. So me said to Sean, just say 2 words about how you feel about the last. So him come to the mic. So the mic, hold on. So the mic, Oh my dear. Oh dear.
Hush, man, hush. Next time, yeah, Papa.
That's what me said to you, Papa. Next so Papa said next time.
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So we're going to take a break. Is there anything else that you want to mention before we
No.
take this break?
That is all. When we come back.
All right, fine. So we're going to take a break. We soon come. So we did tell you that we have as our very special guest, Angie Kelly. She's a human rights inspector for Human Rights Defense. And we understand, Miss Kelly, that we have another guest. You've invited another guest. First of all, welcome to the Bridge 99 FM.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having us. Greetings to all. Love the vibrations and love to educate and share to all. So I love the work that you're doing, the effectual work that you have in the community, affecting everybody's lives. So we're so happy to be here. I have with me Inspector Hart. He is also a United Nations OWADO officer. So let me tell you a little bit about what OWADO is.
Yes.
OWADO is a international group. The acronyms OADO stands for the Organization of Human Rights Defense.
Okay. The Organization of Human Rights Defense, OWADO.
Correct.
Okay. And OWADO is a UN NGO?
An NGO and an IGO at the same time.
Explain.
Let me have Inspector Hart do that.
Okay.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Good to have you on the Bridge 99 FM.
Nice to hear from you. Yeah, as we were explaining, we're an IGO and an NGO. We do contracts with governments all over the world, and we have our own independent governmental platform for our own organization. So we work on projects like education. We work with organizations that deal with youth custody, where youth have been locked up, incarcerated, and they need special help. We provide that help, and we provide the education to rehabilitate the youth. So, it's a big collaboration with Interpol, with NATO. We have that angle, and we have the ideology that they take consultative information from us. And so we're a teaching platform as well as a policing platform.
Okay. There are a few questions that I have. Let me start with this one. You're said to have achieved exceptional results in the defense of human rights with intergovernmental, as you alluded to before, groups, and international state public institutions. Give us some examples that we can actually understand even more clearly.
Well, the success that we're having is achieved by our unique way that we do our policing. We can deal with the individual of any country in the 193 member states of the United Nations. We don't have to really deal with organizations like ourselves. We are policing human rights at the street level. So we can deal with the individual, and therefore we're unhindered in our approach of bringing human rights awareness to the individuals so that they can, have that information, be aware of when their human rights are being violated, and then do something about it instantly rather than have to go through the court system. So our success is based on being able to empower the individual without, allowing the state to intervene and to, take many years to bring violations to the table.
Right. Which would be a hindrance that the average human rights group would have, because most human rights groups cannot avoid the laws of the country, the individual country, or the government of that particular country. Does your organization collaborate with human rights groups, particularly here in Jamaica, since you're here in Jamaica, or generally wherever you go?
Well, this is the way we'd like to do it, Here in Jamaica, we are just getting our feet into that doorway and making the necessary links with the other human rights groups.
And on Thursday, the 14th, this is our actual official launch. We're having that launch in Knutsford Boulevard in Kingston. And so this helps to bring in a presence not only to the individuals, but also to other organizations that may benefit and want to have that form of collaboration where we can even provide them with education or training for aspects that we have been successful with, and to somewhat, elevate, upgrade, and support their efforts. Whereas in many times, some of the organizations have had some limitations because they don't have that unique partnership.
They don't have that unique what?
So go ahead.
They don't have that unique what?
They don't sometimes have the unique partnerships
Okay.
with some of the international platforms, within the recognized Interpol, the International Policing Association, the United Nations or UNESCO, some of them are just grassroots. And so we're here to support, because at the end of the day, it's about the people. It's not about someone being recognized in name only for something. It's about helping our youth, helping our families, supporting the individuals so that they can be empowered and that they can make different choices or correct some of the choices that they may have made. It's very different for each case.
Okay.
And we're not cookie cutters. Everybody's an individual. Their situations can be very unique,
Right.
even though it might be similar.
Okay, I get that your mission relates to the educating of the people, particularly here in Jamaica now. But does this include providing tools and legal support? Because that is really what would make the difference to your average Jamaican here.
Well, yes, I agree. And me myself, I'm an inspector, but I also head up the legal department of OWADO. And this is a worldwide collaboration with other legal departments that we're developing at the moment. So we will have the necessary tools to impart with local people, to get them involved, to train them up as volunteers, to give them the same tools that we have and we will use within the judiciary system. And yeah, this is what we're doing. We're bringing this awareness not only on an educational level for individuals, but on a professional level, so they can go out there and do what we do.
Okay, and okay, you're training people to go out there and do what you do. Part of what you do is it. Let us say there's a young man, for argument's sake, who is here in Jamaica and his human rights is being violated, and he can't get the access that you just mentioned. Would you actually help this young man to get the access and to get the legal support?
This is exactly what we would do. We'd get in there and we would represent him in whichever form we can. We will also educate him and bring him through a stage of different modules so that he can understand what has happened to him and how he can get himself out of it.
Okay.
And then we will support him all the way through. If we have to get further legal help, he will get it through our organization.
Okay, so we're talking about international human rights. Distinguish for me the difference between human rights and international human rights.
Well, the thing is, every country has their own version of a human rights statute. But when they signed up to the United Nations, they agreed to have these principles of human rights set out as a standardized set of rules and regulations that all member states will adopt and adhere to. Now we find that where education is dwindling in certain countries, they don't have the information to properly enforce their human rights and be aware of them. And so we're here to bring that education to the less fortunate countries. They talk about third world countries. I don't believe there is a third world, but there is a third world view. And we're here to really move that view from people and let people be able to see what everybody else sees.
Yeah, because it's necessary to have a shift in not only what you believe, but how you believe. those are the changes that are instrumental in changing how our futures are. So, that's part of our mission. And that's something that all the inspectors carry with a passion. Our founder and president was born in Romania. There are over 31 locations for the Organization of Human Rights. It's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's not a man or a girl thing, it's about human beings.
Okay.
And them being able to stay and stand on their stone inside of those 31 declarations that were drafted in Geneva way back.
Okay. One of the issues that many countries, in fact, the world now faces that we all have in common right now, I would consider to be modern slavery. And how we deal with modern slavery and particularly trafficking, human trafficking. How have you found us to be doing in terms of anti-trafficking? And if we're not doing well, what would you suggest that we as a country do to stop human trafficking, which happens around the world?
Well, one of our projects is having an anti-modern slavery unit deployed into local areas, which we observe covertly the going-ons of things and how things are done locally, not necessarily making ourselves, being, not noticed in the community. And then we go back and we work out ways of tackling the issues and bringing those issues to the table of local government. So local government,
awareness.
Local government, local authority, we work closely with them to see where industry has taken on this burden of modern slavery and try to eradicate it on a street level.
Have you found, particularly here in Jamaica, but generally over the world, have you found human trafficking to be on the increase?
Yeah, I think the climate now, the local rules and bylaws actually seemed to encourage it. There are a lot of loopholes that are left unplugged that allow this thing to happen. So we find that there's been an increase in this. And it's an economic problem. It's not because people want to be involved. Cost of living, inflation, these variables are driving this type of crime.
Yeah.
And so we're there to look into it and to remedy it from an educational advocate, as being an advocate for this thing and eradicating it from that ground level.
I'm foreseeing that it's going to be a very difficult job because there's a market for human trafficking, and then there are people who are filling that market, selling their own children. And as you said, as economics or as people find it more difficult to survive, they're going to be selling, unfortunately, human beings. How are you really going to tackle such a problem when there is such a huge market for human beings?
Well, we're number one is awareness. Each one needs one, teaches one, and it's just changing the paradigm one person at a time. Unfortunately, it's not something that you can just jump in and again, like my colleague has shared, sometimes we have to watch the profile, watch how individuals are being groomed into situations. It's being able to talk to the family. It's being able to provide an alternative. Because in order for something to change, sometimes you have to give them an exchange.
Exactly.
So it's not the same everywhere. It's different, and sometimes the variables are different. However, a lot of it is economics, whether it's something in India, in Africa, it doesn't make a difference, the actual location. When it comes down to it, somebody's in need and they're finding a solution for their needs. Sometimes they're not aware of other solutions.
But if it is economic, as you suggest, and I'm sure it is, then there are some countries that are more vulnerable, more likely for it to happen. For example, third world countries and some nations, that poor nations. So it is more of an issue there, is it not?
That's true. That's true. And Awado, as we said, Awado has an academy to teach the youth and to teach, volunteers of any age. And on these programs that we're, hosting, these programs allow the individual to learn new skills, learn new tools, and to adapt, a new way of doing things. We're teaching people the cutting edge of technology, things in cryptocurrency, wealth management. We are teaching kids how to deal with economic, problems and bringing solutions to them at a young age. This will help them to deal with this problem that we find ourselves in. It's only through awareness and through education, I believe, that we're going to tackle the problem.
Absolutely. But how will you access these children? How will you access these young people?
We are going in, as you said, we're going into communities directly at the ground level. We're not hindered by local government. We're not hindered by, central government. We have the authority and the mandate to deal with the 193 countries that we're assigned to. And everywhere we go, we shall put a new office there. And that office will bring people into it, local people, educate local people, and give them the tools that they need.
Okay. There's a topic that I don't think we're going to have time for, but I found very interesting because Jamaica's call to become a sovereign republic, it seems to go unheeded. And you know that these are issues that we have to go, it's governmental. There's no way that you can bypass the government of any country that wants to have a sovereign republic. How does an organization like yours bypass the government?
Well, it's not a bypass. The government represents the people. If the people are uneducated, unaware, then the government steps in and do what they wish to do. If the people are educated and are aware, then the government will listen to them and listen how, they want their sovereignty to prevail. So this is exactly what I've been saying. It starts from the ground upwards and not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. I got you. So you're suggesting that the more people are aware, the more educated they are, is the more they can lobby their governments to do what it is that they've voted to do.
That's exactly what it is. That's what it is. And that's what we need to realize all over the world, that this is the thing. The people are sovereign. The governments are not sovereign. They're representatives, and they do what the people require.
Absolutely.
And it's not the other way around. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And as you mentioned, we're running short on time, but at some point in the very near future, we'd like to come back and talk to you and to the community. So if you have us, we will connect again in very close future.
Wonderful. Looking forward to that. So just tell us about the launch very quickly before you go.
The launch takes place on the 14th at 6 o'clock at the Pegasus Hotel in Kingston, New Kingston. And we'll be having a very short event, just again, like I said, to let the Jamaican community be aware of our presence and that we're here to work in conjunction with individuals and groups and to share the love, to share the education, to empower those that choose to take on that aspect of being responsible and engaging in different channels to be able to just walk and be who they are.
Right. Wonderful talking to you. Very interesting. It's something that we've not really heard of before. We're looking forward to having it launched. We're also looking forward to seeing some of your representatives in communities teaching young people how to understand not just their rights, but their international human rights. We're looking forward to seeing you use the tools and the influence that you have to not just legally support our young people particularly, but to support them generally. We're looking forward to that.
In August, we will be partnering well, we already partner with a group that here in Jamaica you're very much aware of, and that's the United Nations Office of Sport for Development and Peace, UNOSDP. We shall be participating in a number of different areas concerning the 60th celebration of independence. And because we also have a dream, have a vision for there to be a sovereign platform created in the very near future for Jamaica. So that's something that's coming up, and there'll be more interactions inside of the local communities with that event coming forward.
Okay, wonderful. Looking forward. Thank you very much for sharing the information with us. We hope your launch will be a success, and thank you very much for talking to us here on the Bridge 99 FM.
Thank you so much for having us, Ms. Kelly.
Most
Talk
welcome.
To you soon.
Most welcome. Okay, so that was Angie Kelly and Inspector Hart, and they are human rights inspectors for human rights defense. And I'm sure at a later date, at a later point, we will hear more about how this has manifested, and we will certainly give them a voice and have them talk about that. So we're going to take a break. We soon come. So, Beauregard, you heard that interview, and we're looking forward to gathering more information. It's it's new, and it took a little bit of understanding, but I think we're getting there, and we're looking forward to hearing more about this launch and this group, as the world really needs to understand more about our international human rights, and we also need groups that not just lobby but actually provide tools and information and legal, services to actually help hands-on rather than just educate.
I thought it was a very, very interesting conversation. Like you said, a lot of people need to know their basic human rights. Sometimes a lot of people's human rights are violated and they don't even know that, and that's because they don't know some of their basic human rights. The right to freedom, your right to privacy, your right to food and water, education, equal treatment, things of that nature. To express your opinion, your right to religion. A lot of people don't know that those are their human rights. Exactly.
And what I found interesting is when the gentleman said that for all those who are part of the United Nations, there are clauses, there's a constitution there. And for those who are a part of the United Nations, it says that the work is in full accordance with the Declaration of Human Rights and meet the global accepted anti-modern slavery obligations. So if let us say Jamaica is a part of the United Nations, they're obligated to adhere to the rights or the laws or the clauses of the said where you call it now, wherever, me I try to say. Yeah, and only for terms me not get, but at this Morganne, so me I tell you. But at the end of the day, we get the basic information, and we're looking forward to educating ourselves more, that we can actually have, a more informed conversation about topics like these.
True indeed. Indeed. Now, Mama Kelly, the other day I was having a conversation with someone, and they told me to heal you up and let you make you know, say you are them dupes from long time. Them say I love you and respect you and rate you to the max. I'm gonna play a song for you, Mama Kelly, because this is his brand new song right now, and himself he heal you up. Okay. I'll play this song for you, Mama Kelly. So here's what I'm doing. You still wondering who it is, Mama Kelly?
Rice man. Oh my goodness me! Where you saw him, Morganne?
I spoke to him on the phone.
Okay.
Actually, I was in a conversation with him on the phone, and he told me, he said, heal you up, man. He had him at dupes from a long time.
Yes,
the relationship and the friendship still strong,
look
everything good.
Let me tell you something. Me can't agree, but watch this now. No, he don't tell you that part there.
No,
look here. Let me tell you. But you have some people where you and them have in an argument, but you ever go back to the argument again. No, it's like we love to argue. Believe me. be dupes for you, man. The next time you see him, bless him up. I mean, like the song where you play.
Yeah, nice.
So you've been playing that one?
We've been playing it over here on Irish Jam Radio for a couple of weeks. Well, now DJ Rai first premiered it here.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Oh, we
and
love.
also Richie B in Jamaica has been playing it. It's
really?
been playing on the bridge. Yes.
They owe me I'm dupes, and him not give me.
Richie B premiered it in Jamaica. Yeah, man.
Okay. I mean, like it. It's so who produced it?
I'm wondering if it's Jack Scarpia, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice,
so I'm
man.
not sure, but I'm thinking it's Jack Scarpia.
Jack Scarpia, if it's you, or you finna give me. Me not understand where I'm going, but me like it. Me like the sound of it, and Leroy Smart is Leroy Smart. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So bless him up for me the next time you talk to him, please, and tell him to send me a copy.
I will. And also Ian Sweetness if you hear up to.
Bless up Ian Sweetness.
Yeah,
it's like the whole of my friend them, they're foreign, I don't know where really are going,
They're tuned in, Mama Kelly, and they're listening, and I'm happy to hear you.
Nice. I give thanks for that. I give thanks for that. And can I tell you something, Beauregard? There's that section there, the diaspora. I think I was missing out on that connection with the diaspora. And one of the things that I love about the fact that we stream live to the tri-state is that I'm regaining that connection with the diaspora. There are people who never used to hear us for whatever reason, and now they're hearing us, and I'm happy for that.
That's a good thing. A lot of people missed you, and they're happy that you're back. So, it's a good thing.
It is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
All right. So bless up yourself, and we do this again on Thursday, right? Most I willing, right?
Definitely.
All right. So bless up.
All right,
your
Jamaica.
listeners.
Take care. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Until Thursday when we speak again.
Beautiful. All right. Nick more. Okay, so it's now 12:52, and as we wait on Richie to find my team, I want to say thank you very much to Morganne Kellier. We had a lovely conversation this morning, and she's 2021 Festival Queen for St. James. She's a past student of Montego Bay High and Community College, and she is also a young attorney. She gave us a lot of information. She talked about her struggle through university, gaining her degree in law, and she talked about the victory and overcoming the struggles, and it was a wonderful conversation. So we just want to say enough respect to you, Morganne Kellier. It was wonderful talking to you.